Hi there, welcome to anticipated releases video. I kind of fell off on this. I was doing like every month last year, but I fell off. I'm trying to get back on the horse for this. So what I am doing here is I am doing July releases that I'm looking forward to. Today is July 4th, so there's one that's already out, but I'm gonna try to get this up as soon as possible and just go through what I'm looking forward to coming out this month. Am I gonna read everything? Maybe not, but these are the books I find interesting. These are the books that I will probably get from the library at some point. A couple of books I'm way more excited about than the others, but I also thought there's some books here that I would shout out that sound interesting that others may be more interested in than I am. At a minimum, all of these books sounded intriguing to me enough that I actually saved the information and put it in my beautiful little Notion database. Let's just get started. The first book we're looking at came out on July 1st. I actually picked this for my Aardvark July box. This is Party of Liars by Kelsey Cox. This is a young adult thriller. A lavish Texas-sized Sweet 16 turns deadly in this twisty, pulse-pounding new novel, serving up a fresh take on a classic locked room whodunit. Today is Sophie Matthews' 16th birthday party, an exclusive black tie bash at the heart of the Texas Hill Country, where secrets are as deep-rooted as the sprawling live oaks. They're having a huge party at this renovated mansion, and then just before the candles are blown out, a body falls from the balcony onto the dance floor. There's a bunch of different characters that we're following, and we have to figure out what's going on. I like this idea. I like this idea as a YA thriller, so I picked that for my Aardvark box for July. Next, we have one book on July 8th. This is How to Survive a Horror Story by Mallory Arnold. Oh, duh, this is another, like, bunch of people get together and start dying. Okay. 7 authors enter the manor. Can they survive the story within? When legendary horror author Mortimer Queen passes, a group of writers find themselves invited to his last will and testament reading, expecting a piece of his massive fortune. Each have their own unique connection to the literary icon, some known, some soon to be discovered, and they've been waiting for their chance to step into the author's shoes for some time. Instead, they arrive at his grand manor and are invited to play a game. The rules are simple. Solve the riddle and progress to the next room. If they don't, the manor will take one of them for itself. You see, the Queen estate was built on the bones of Mortimer's family, and like any true horror story, the house is still very, very hungry. So, locked room, thrill, horror. So, very excited to read that one. Yeah, so this comes out July 8th. Next, we have 2 books coming out on July 15th. One was interesting. One is one of my most anticipated, auto-buy. So the first is This Stays Between Us by Sara Ochs. Maybe Ochs. I'm not sure how to pronounce that last name. I should have looked it up right. This is one where there's a bunch of college students and something happened in the past, and then we're revisiting whatever happened. So 10 years ago, 6 college students meet in an Australian summer study abroad, ready to enjoy the break from their studies and travel the country. Their program is meant to introduce them to the beauty of Australia and immerse them in an unforgettable cultural experience. In reality, it's a thrill-fueled summer of outdoor excursions, adrenaline rushes, alcohol lust, and friendship turned wrong. When Phoebe suddenly disappears, presumed to have run away, the group decides to pack up and leave the past behind. All their secrets hidden for good, or at least that's what they tell themselves. 10 years later, they each receive a call. They found Phoebe's body, and now it's time to return. So this one, definitely library audiobook. Books like this I tend to really like on audio, so I think I have already requested that my library get this, so I'm just waiting for them to add it, and then I will hop on that list immediately. Next, for one of my most anticipated, this is The Enchanted Greenhouse by Sara Beth Durst. This is a companion novel to, why am I blanking? The Spell Shop. The Spell Shop that she released last year, which is cozy fantasy. This is a companion novel following a character that is briefly mentioned in The Spell Shop, so it's not a direct sequel, but it's in the same world, and we're kind of connected. Turlu Purna broke the law because she was lonely. She cast a spell and created a magically sentient spider plant. That's right, this is the magician who created Kaz in The Spell Shop. So, as a punishment, she was turned into a wooden statue and tucked away into an alcove in the north reading room of the Great Library of Elysium. One day, Turlu wakes in the cold of winter on a nearly deserted island full of hundreds of magical greenhouses. She's starving and freezing, and the only other human on the island is a grumpy gardener. To her surprise, he offers Turlu a place to sleep, clean clothes, and freshly baked honey cakes, at least until she's ready to sail home. and it's cozy, so she finds her home on the new island. So very excited for this one. It does sound a little bit like, I don't know, maybe it's leaning Grumpy Sunshine. I don't really know what Turlou's personality is going to be, but like Grumpy Gardener kind of gives off that vibe. So very excited for this one. This is going to be an auto buy, and it is just also coming out with pretty sprayed edges, the same that the Spell Shop did. Next, we have 2 releases on July 22nd. The first of which is interesting for me. So this is The Library at Hellebore by Cassandra Khaw. Now, Cassandra Khaw is an interesting author for me. I think I've always wanted to try her, but started reading her and never really vibed with the book, but I keep wanting to try her because her ideas are so freaking cool. I forgot the one, The Salt Grows Heavy. I think I read like a few chapters of that and the writing didn't vibe with me, but this just sounds fucking cool. The Hellebore Technical Institute for the Gifted is the premier academy for the dangerously powerful, the Antichrists and Ragnaroks, the World Eaters and the Apocalypse Makers. Hellebore promises redemption, acceptance, and a normal life after graduation. At least, that's what Alessa Lee is told when she's kidnapped and forcibly enrolled. But there's more to Hellebore than meets the eye. On graduation day, the faculty go on a ravenous rampage, feasting on Alessa's class. Only Alessa and a group of her classmates escape the carnage. Trapped in the school's library, they must offer a human sacrifice every night, or else the faculty will break down the door and kill everyone. Half of that wasn't there when I put this on my TBR. So, wow. I think people are calling this dark academia, mostly because it takes place in a school. I have many thoughts on how people call things dark academia just because they take place in a school, but this is just straight up horror. This is not dark academia. Just because it's dark and it takes place in a school doesn't make it dark academia. There's other things, like so many people read The Secret History and did not understand what dark academia means. I'm just gonna leave it there. Anyways, excited about that one. Probably gonna be a library read, but I do need to put the Crescent at my library. Also on July 22nd, we have Volatile Memory by Seth Haddon. This is a sci-fi novel. It's being pitched as Ex Machina meets This Is How You Lose the Time War, which is very interesting. Let's see, and a vengeful sapphic sci-fi action adventure novella. Lots of like words there that are kind of pinging me, like that interesting. Okay, with nothing but a limping ship and an outdated mask to her name, Willa needs a big payday. When the call goes out that a lucrative piece of tech is waiting on a nearby planet, she relies on all the swiftness of her prey animal instincts to beat the other hunters to it. What you found wasn't your ticket out, it was my corpse wearing an AI mask. When you touched the mask, you heard my voice. A consciousness spinning through metal and circuits, a bodiless mind spun to life in the Hawk's temporary storage. I crystallized, and I was alive. So I think this is like kind of like AIs live in masks, and if you put the mask on, you kind of blend with the AI. So that line was supposed to be like the mask talking. Masks aren't supposed to retain memory, much less identity, but the woman inside the Mark I Hawk is real, and she sees Willa in a way no one ever has, sees her and doesn't find her wanting or unwhole. Armed with military-grade tech and a lifetime of staying one step ahead of the hunters, Willa and Hawk set off to get answers from the man who discarded Hawk once, her ex-husband. I remember that was the hook that got me. So Willa finds this mask, and the sentience inside the mask was once property of her ex-husband. So I think that's really what hooked me. I have seen a couple of reviews come in for this and say it's pretty good, so I'm very intrigued by this. I don't know that I'll buy it, mainly because books are getting fucking expensive, and I don't know if this is a novella or a full novel. 176 pages, so I don't know. I think that would qualify as a small novel, so that's probably gonna be nearly fucking $30. So library it is. Last, we have one book on July 29th. That is The Memory Hunters by Tsai. This is a pretty strong comp. Inception meets Indiana Jones in this propulsive fungal science fantasy, following a headstrong academic and her equally stubborn bodyguard as they unearth an ancient secret that rocks the foundations of their society and challenges their unspoken love for one another. So this is kind of a romance science fantasy. Kiana Strayed can dive deeper into blood memories than anyone alive, but instead of devoting her talents to the temple she's meant to lead, Keith wants to do research for the Museum of Human Memory and to avoid the public eye. Valerian IV's twin swords protect Key from murderous rivals and her own enthusiasm alike. Vale cares about Key as a friend and maybe more, but most of all, she needs to keep her job so she can support her parents and siblings in the storm-torn South. But when Key collects a memory that diverges from official history, only Vale can see the fallout. Key's mentor suspiciously dismisses the finding. Her powerful mother demands she stop research altogether. And Key, unusually affected by the memory, begins to lose moments, then minutes, then days. As Vale becomes increasingly entangled in Key's obsessive drive for answers, the women uncover... Oh! It's sapphic. I didn't know it was sapphic. The women uncover a shattering discovery and a devastating betrayal. Key and Vale can remain complicit, or they can jeopardize everything for the truth. Either way, Key is being consumed by the past in more ways than one, and time is running out. Wow, I don't know why I didn't realize that was sapphic. And what does that say about how our society sets us up to automatically go for the cishet from the start? I'm 40 years old and I still have moments like that where I'm like, why did I automatically make that heterosexual in my mind? We've been so indoctrinated, I swear to God. Okay, that is everything that I am looking forward to in July. I hope to keep these going month to month like I have in the past. Have you heard any of these? Are you anticipating any of these? If you happen to have an arc, have you read any of these yet? Can you tell me if they're fantastic? I fully believe that the Enchanted Greenhouse is going to be great. There's a couple others I'm not sure about, but I think at this point, if I haven't already yet, I am going to put requests into my library for every one of these books that I mentioned on here. So that is very ambitious considering I'm in a reading slump, but new releases also excite me because, you know, it's new, it's exciting, it's fun. It's like, it's not the same old, even though I have a bunch of books I haven't read yet that would be considered new and exciting to my brain because I haven't read them yet, but they've also been sitting here on my shelves for a while, so they kind of feel old. So very strange, like, dynamic to have in your head. As always, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think about anything that I mentioned in the video today, and I will catch you later. Bye.